Hi, I'm Don Schaefer, and I want to welcome all of you once again to the Project Manager Workshop. And this here is session 2 of a 7-week workshop. And we've been working on an area of life that is an area that people can grow in and be developed in and allow them to reach different plateaus and avenues of life. A lot of times, the majority of people in life are stuck in a way of thinking sometimes that they allow a mediocre life, a simple way of just sitting back and allowing life to go by, and then all of a sudden they wake up one day and they say, what have I done? See, we're trying to be a little proactive, and that's why my hat's off to all of you, because we're trying to say, hey, you know, what can I do? You know, why am I allowing life to get by, but what can I do right now to allow myself to grow and to be developed into areas that I need to be developed in? And that's where last week we talked a little bit about that success is a planned outcome. It's getting ourselves into a place where we are actually planning the outcome of our life and getting ourselves into a place where we realize that if we can put ourselves through some types of difficult areas in our life, that we can expand our lives into levels that we could only dream of. And we realize too that there's a lot of people in life that are very successful. There really is. I mean, this world of ours, you know, it always amazes me sometimes too, the attitude within people, because you get people inside of the United States a lot of times that are just born here, you know, they're raised in our school systems and whatever, and they just think they can just, you know, the whole society owes them something. They don't feel like they need to do something. But then again, you take people that are coming to the United States who have lived a life in an area where they have nothing, you know, and they realize that the only way they're going to get something is to apply themselves. They come to the United States in a whole different attitude because they want to work and achieve things. They're eager to do things. And that's where somewhere down the line, people's thought process has gotten themselves into a place of complacency. And that's where we're trying to take a period of time, and this is session 2 now, but we're taking a period of time, because last week we talked about success. We talked about how we have to be able to identify for ourselves what success truly is. And without identifying it, sometimes we're going after the wrong thing. Or perhaps we're grabbing onto somebody else's formula for success, and we're making it ours. But it really isn't us. You know, and that's where a lot of people struggle in life. But if we can ever get our arms around success and what it means for us, you know, and because there is a place for every one of us in life. God has created us with a purpose in mind. If we can ever get our arms around that place and get ourselves going in that direction, then the pieces come together. You know, and that's where we're trying to shake up minds, we're trying to shake up thoughts and all this stuff in these 7 weeks in the hopes that we can grab onto it. I myself in the same process. Because, you know, everybody has a level of thinking and a way of thinking, but you know what? There's always a greater level. You know, just when you think you're smart, you really aren't smart, because there's another level of being intelligent. You know, a lot of times people walk around and say, well, I'm pretty cool. You know, I got it all figured out. No, you don't. You know, because there's always another level. You know, you just have reached a certain plateau. You might be above somebody else's level, perhaps, but there's always another level. You've never reached the top. It's a continuous improvement that we apply to our lives. And that's where if we can get a mindset of realizing that, you know, every week, every month, every year is another opportunity to expand ourselves in some way or some fashion. And that's where tonight we're going to be getting into a reaching a decision lesson here. And I'm just going to go to the booklet. It says, the Project Manager, Lesson 2, Reaching a Decision. Okay, trying, as we've titled all this stuff, discovering the champion in you, realizing that there's a champion in every one of us. Okay, taking what you want and setting a compelling goal. So we're going to be looking at trying to get our arms around some area of success and what we want and get a plan for that. Okay, in Philippians 3, verse 13 through 14, it says, Brethren, I do not count myself to have apprehended, but one thing I do, forgetting those things which are ahead, I press towards the goal for the prize of the upward calling of God in Christ Jesus. Okay, so I don't sit there and I don't worry about what's in front of me and all this sort of thing. I just keep pressing. I keep on pressing on towards the goal, because there is a higher calling. There's higher levels of life, higher levels of motivation that each and every one of us need in life. Okay, and then Emerson said, according to the depth from which you draw your life, Such is the depth of your accomplishments. Okay, so there's a depth where we draw the areas of life, and there's a depth of accomplishments. And then I've just got a few paragraphs I've written here. It says here, just what do you want to accomplish? Should be the question that all of us should be asking ourselves. To have a vibrant and healthy life, we all need to understand our purpose and mission in life. For most people, change just happens. But perhaps we can control change to make something of our lives to our liking. Perhaps. See, and that's where change does just happen if you don't do anything. It will. I'll guarantee there will be change in your life. You know, wherever I've worked, the people I've been around, sometimes we've had such great times. I've kept telling them, I said, this does not last forever. You know, I remember the job I just got out of, I've been with different groups of people. You know, and you get with these people and you get to know them real well, and everything is clicking real good and stuff like that. You say, man, is this good? And you sit down and you say, you know what? This won't last. It's going to change, because it always does. You know, but perhaps, just perhaps, and that's what we're working on, perhaps we can control change. Perhaps the changes that happen are something that we have, by design, set ourselves up to, so that we're changing into the right areas, into the things of our liking, rather than just letting change happen. And going on, it says, many times we have circumstances happening to us and wonder why. I believe that there are reasons for the circumstances we are in, and that they are a reflection of what's going on inside. James Allen wrote, circumstances does not make the man, it reveals him. Therefore, if you want changes in your circumstances, you must start by changing yourself. See, that's where a lot of times people are always having this type of circumstance. Oh, this is always happening to me. You know, why is that? Because of what's inside you. You know, it's the makeup of you. That's why you always fall. That's where certain people always fall into certain types of troubles or whatever it might be, because it's what's inside them. You know, why is it just them? Why are these circumstances? Because circumstances will reveal what's inside you. But then there's a flip side of this. There's some people that always step into things that are good. Everything seems to flow their way. I mean, they must have, touched something in life that just allowed great things to happen. No, it's what's inside them. Good things start to happen, and those are the circumstances we all want. But it depends on what's built up inside of us, and that's what we're going to take a good look at. It says, in this exercise of the mission we are endeavoring, it is to come up with a mission statement to give purpose to our lives. A mission statement is one sentence that will tell us what we are doing and why we're doing it. Shirley and I coach marriages. In our classes, we sometimes ask couples what their purpose is for getting or being married. Sometimes we get blank looks, for they never thought of marriage as a mission that they are on. A mission statement can change the whole picture of life for you and can help you to team up with others in relationships, for everyone will know what you are about. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that tonight, about mission statements. You know, what is your purpose? What is your mission in life? You know, and here's a statement that tells you, it brings it all together. It helps crystallize why you're doing what you're doing. And a lot of people don't realize. That's where I know, like, when I was at the workplace, I used to play with the guys a lot, and ask them questions, and I'd always ask them, what is your purpose for working? What are your purpose? And I'd get all these stares and looks at me, because nobody ever asked them that question. I said, why? Is it just the money? Why are you at work? Is it just the money? Or is there something else? And so many people, they just give you a stare because they don't have a clue why they're there, because this is just what I do, or this is what everybody else does, so that's why I'm here, or it is just the money. It's just the money. For some people it is just the money. For most people it probably is. But when you ask them what their purpose is, they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. I just get up every morning, the sun comes up and the sun goes down. This is what I do. Okay. The important part here is that you need to make decisions for yourself, for your life, and what you want. There are laws of human nature that will aid and guide if you are willing to use them. A mission statement is a powerful focus tool, but it needs to be connected with the compelling goals to set your life in a direction you want it to go in. Dreams are great, and we all have them, but dreams alone are just a wish list, and without a structured plan will never come to pass. This is true. This is true, and that's where we need some structure. We're going to talk about that tonight. So I once spoke a message called Gambling with Your Life. I remember that, where I explained that unless you structure your life to go in the direction you want it in, you You are like the man rolling the dice in Vegas, hoping to win. Most people in Vegas don't win, and neither will you unless you take the chance out of it by coming up with a plan. On a trip to Utah a number of years ago, I had the privilege of talking to a young lady who had just graduated from high school. I asked her what her plans were for the future, and she said that she had decided she would like to become a beautician. Then I asked her if she had any written plans of how she was going to do this, and she said that she didn't. So then I went on and explained what she needed to do. She needed to write down her mission, what her mission was, write down that her mission was to help people by becoming a beautician, and to set a goal as to what the date she would complete her course to become this. Then she needed to write down action plans such as checking out the courses and enrolling, planning on how to pay for the course, and what type of job she would need to cover expenses while in school, etc. When we were done talking, her eyes were very bright with excitement, for it was going from a dream into reality. See, and that's the way a lot of things are. You talk to people and they want to do a lot of things, but do they have a plan? You know, do they have anything set up to do this? Because there's a big gap between the dream and actual reality. You know, and that's where a lot of times I've mentioned before, people go to college for 4 years sometimes. And a lot of times what they went to college for, they never do. You know, I've worked with a lot of guys in the factory and stuff like that that have been to college, had degrees, never did anything close to what they were going to school for, because nothing helped them to bridge that gap and get into what they were doing, because they never put down a solid written plan. It was just, I want to do this. See, you need something to structure you to get you across and into what you want to achieve in life. See, that's what we're hoping to do. Few people don't do, there's not many people that do this, but we're going to be a group that will do this and allow circumstances to happen in our life. Okay, most people, goal setting is the master skill of all lifelong success, and most people do not know this or do not take the time to implement it. It is so critical for directing your life and can dramatically increase your productivity. What it does is to provide you clarity of the outcome, which will help you to become an outstanding decision maker. By mastering the goal-setting principles, your life will never be the same, and your circumstances will show that you are on the right track. See, there's any area in our life that we need to be experts on, is that area of being able to set for ourselves goals, because you can't win unless you cross the goal. You know, a lot of people want to be winners in life, but you have to have a goal to go after, because you'll never be. How do you know when you're a winner in life? Because the only reason you realize you're a winner is because you've set a goal for yourself. See, when I played basketball, we had goals. We shot at goals all the time. You know, when we made these hoops, we could be winners. But before the game, without that goal, we could say we wanted to play basketball all we wanted. We couldn't be a winner until we got into the game and started shooting at goals. You know, and that's the same thing in life. We need to become experts and masters at that. And we're going to talk more as we go on here. Since most people have settled down into living a mediocre life, where they live by a series of routines and habits, hoping that something will change in the future and that they will be happy. This is a dangerous and most times a fearful spot to be in. What I'm sharing with you is an opportunity to break out of all this by reaching the decision to write down the mission you are on and setting targets of achievement by writing goals that will compel you into a life of success and happiness. So we have to be able to reach an area, you know, and this is what interests me so much in life, is there are few people that do what we're going to be talking about here. Very few people that do this sort of thing. You know, and you look at life, there are a certain amount of people that are very successful in life. But you look at them, they look just like you and I. They look just like you and I, but there's something more that they're doing with their life. And, you know, and a lot of these people are even willing to share it. You know, you sit down, it's no secret. You know, I mean, most people that are very successful in life are very willing to share exactly what they've done. But there's very few people that will actually do it. You know, and that's where, you know, me talking right now is great. You know, I can say a lot of stuff, but the actual doing of stuff, that's where it's tough for people. You know, and that's where I'm hoping that I'm speaking to a group of people that are willing to dig in and say, hey, you know what? I want some change in my life. I want to see things happen. And it doesn't have to be huge, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. It doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to say, well, you know, I'm going to build an Empire State Building or something like that. It's the little goals that you set for yourself. and gradually continue to build and work towards a major goal, eventually you find yourself there. And there's nothing more pleasing in life than to have put a plan together and all of a sudden start to see things happen. I've been meeting with people, on and off for quite some time. And a lot of my life, I know I've put little plans together, and gradually I'm seeing these things happen. And it amazes me, the process, because it was there all the time. But few people use that avenue to achieve things. But we'll get into some points here tonight. Number one, it says, before you choose your goals, it is wise to first choose who you want to become. Okay, yeah. Throughout our lifetime, you're constantly changing. You're either moving forward or going backwards. For most people, change just happens. Most people allow themselves to be changed by their circumstances, but your circumstances just reveal who you are. See, this is probably one of the most important laws of nature that we can understand. And the fact is that we can change our circumstances by changing who we are on the inside. By really digging down and saying, you know what? The way I look at life, the way I conduct myself, my habits, the way I handle things. If my life isn't where I want it to be, if I want something, I need to change on the inside because it changes my circumstances. It changes the way I do things. Fact is, a lot of principles of honesty, doing things the right way. Last week we talked about responsibility, taking responsibility for your life. Realizing that it's all we ask for an opportunity, but it's our responsibility to use our time wisely. It's our responsibility to set compelling goals for ourselves. It's our responsibility to stay energized and take care of ourselves. It's our responsibility to be able to seek after things and desire things. We don't sit there and say, it's somebody else's responsibility, because it's not. That's a problem with society a lot of times, and where people get stuck because they think everybody else is responsible. We are responsible for us. And if we want change in our life, we're the ones that have to change. We have to change what is on the inside. That's why, I commend you guys for coming to a class such as this, or getting involved in anything where it talks about you being responsible and developing your life. Because it is you and the change you make that's going to change the circumstances around you. And a lot of times we get in life sometimes, and we get ourselves in a situation where we've been raised, to think that it's always somebody else's fault, or the circumstances happen because of this or that. But we fail to realize that when we step out and get ourselves to the point where, hey, you know what? If I can change, this is the law of nature. It will change the circumstances that happen to me. So the next point we had was, as we begin to change, our world changes with us. Okay, for maximum performance, you need to decide in advance how you want to change. You're not going to be just letting things happen to you that are unplanned by you. We're going to be exploring what for some of you will be a brand new world. I talked to a guy today, and he himself, he got into computer websites and stuff. He builds websites. And he was telling me he found a brand new way of building websites. So he was telling me this, and he was getting all excited about this. And I'm sitting there, well, this is great. His name is Mike, my brother-in-law Mike. And I'm saying, this is great, Mike. I said, I really am excited about all this. I know nothing what you're talking about. I said, I know maybe 10% of what you're trying to explain to me as far as websites are concerned. He was all excited. But he had stepped into a brand new world. And I told him, I said, it's just like possibly the people in England or Spain, when all of a sudden word came back that there was a brand new world out there and what it's like. Wow, America, what America is like, and what, all the opportunities and stuff that are there. Here I am living in Spain and England. I'm sitting there saying, wow, that is fantastic. But much of the same type of thing is the same stuff that we're dealing with right now. There is a whole new world out there for each and every one of you. There really is. Sometimes we think we have explored everything. We talked about that last week, when I go deer hunting once in a while, thinking that I'm the only guy that ever been in a certain spot. Not so. Probably hundreds of guys have been there. Fact is, last year somebody was sitting in my stand. I couldn't believe it. I thought I had my spot in that woods, and last year somebody was sitting into my stand, wasn't it, Dave? Yeah, that wasn't good at all, but we'll have to see what happens this week. But there is a whole new world out there. And a lot of times we are explorers just like Christopher Columbus and some of these other guys were, trying to find a new land and a new way of seeing life and living life. And if we can step into it, what excitement. And to be your life itself, how precious that is. In the fact that you yourself, you step into this world. Just think of the story you're going to have to tell people of what you have done with your life. This is what I have done. I mean, it wasn't rocket science. It's just that I was willing to risk part of my life to seek after a brand new world, to seek after something maybe better for the next generation, for my family, for whatever it might be, whatever your purpose might be. But it's a whole new world. See, these are breakthroughs. Sometimes they call them aha moments. All of a sudden you see things differently. I know myself, I'm always looking for a great idea. I always listen to people. I listen to what they say, because you know what? It could be the portal, as we sometimes talk about, into a brand new world. Just an idea. Just a possibility. So when people speak this stuff to me, man, I'm sitting there, wow, upbeat people, positive people that can see big things in the future. I love listening to that stuff because it gives me hope. It realizes that, hey, you know what? I'm not stuck any place. I got places to go. I got things to see and things to do, because there is a brand new spot out there for me. And number 3, it says, you must make things happen rather than let things happen. You must change from reactivity to proactivity. If what you want is not happening, then you need to make it happen. This is where developing a passion comes in. See, we have to get ourselves into a place where we got to make things happen. We just can't sit back and wait for stuff to happen. And that's what most people do. They wait for it to happen. Sometimes, myself, I like to stir things up once in a while. Because sometimes, even like you get with a group of people, whatever, and it's kind of dry, you can make things happen just by doing crazy things or whatever it might be, and all of a sudden you just change the whole atmosphere or whatever. But in life itself, if you feel like it's getting stale or whatever it is, it's time to make things happen. It's time to see what the possibilities are. Because if change is going to happen, who's got to make it happen? I mean, change is going to happen if you don't do nothing at all. But it might be something that you don't like at all, because change always continues to happen. But if you want to have change the way you want it, you got to make these things happen. You got to press, say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to give up. A story that I always love telling, and it just motivates me a little bit. Plus, I love what he produced, and this was Colonel Sanders. And some of you are probably very familiar with this gentleman here. I think it was Colonel Harlan Sanders or something like that. But this guy here worked all his life, just like many of us have done, worked all his life. But he had a dream. He had a dream of making chicken. He was a good chicken maker. He knew how to make chicken that they called Kentucky Fried Chicken. He knew how to make great chicken. So he retires, and as the story would go, he used his first pension check, to go out and promote his chicken. And he knocked on it, and with the article I read, he knocked on to approximately 1,000 doors. Say, hey, I got this good chicken. You guys should sell this chicken. He kept getting no. People did not want to invest in this chicken. I can't believe it. That chicken is good chicken, isn't it, Betty? Good chicken. I love Colonel Sanders' Kentucky Fried Chicken. But this guy had a passion about him. He knew if something was going to happen, who was going to make it happen? He was going to make it happen. He had to knock until the door opened for him. I love the story. And here's a guy, sometimes I sit back, and he looked a little bit older. He had the gray hair and all this stuff going for him, who had just retired. And and that's usually, you think it'd be a time of life that you sit back and take it easy. You plan your vacations, where you want to be when it snows and what you want to do in life and golf course, all this sort of thing. But you know what? He had a dream and a passion. He had goals set up for himself. He was going to keep on knocking until somebody opened the door. And all of a sudden he had the door opened up, and he started selling Kentucky Fried Chicken, and the rest is history as far as Colonel Sanders is concerned. But I love stories like that, because it doesn't matter what time in life. What matters is what you do today. You could say, I should have planted that apple tree 10 years ago, because if I planted it 10 years ago, maybe I could be getting my first couple apples off of it. But there's no better time to plant an apple tree than today. You know, and that's the same thing with the goals and things we go after. There's no better time than right now to do what you're seeking after to do. We have to plug ourselves into that stuff. Okay, moving on here. Number 4 says, as human beings, we need a sense of purpose in our lives as much as we need food, water, and oxygen. This purpose provides meaning and significance to our lives. It will make you feel useful in life. It will allow you to tap into the wellspring of your personal mission, that you will become more creative, energetic, and passionate. Okay, so yeah, as human beings, we need a purpose just like we need oxygen in life. It changes our whole perspective in life. We have a reason for living. We have a reason for doing what we're doing. We have a reason for getting involved in types of things. See, and that's where what it does, it gives us significance as far as who we are. It creates a value and a purpose. See, what I'm trying to structure here in all this here is an understanding here. The fact that, yeah, we have to make change in our life, and we're the ones that make it, but we need to have a purpose in life. See, that's where last week we talked about success a little bit. We talked about the fact that you need to know what you're going after. You need to know what you want in life, you know, and be able to somehow get that into a place where it becomes your purpose in life, and be able to make it a mission of what you're trying to achieve. Because without that, sometimes we drift and we do not feel valuable. See, that's where we become bored. That's where we become, how would you say, dissatisfied with what's happening in life. We feel like, you know, our time is up and we've had our opportunity and it's gone by, or whatever the circumstances might be. But you know, once you can develop a purpose for living, then every day is important. Every day that you get up and everything that you do, whether it be whatever the purpose might be. It could be, I don't know, it could be the career. It could be the family. It could be some occupation, could be some type of hobby or whatever that you're wanting to do that you feel is a purpose in your life. But once it becomes your purpose, your whole life becomes significant. Everything is about you. You carry yourself. Sometimes you can walk and see people, and you can tell people who have a purpose in life just by their attitude and how they carry themselves. I love going into just stores like Walmart or something like that. You can look at some of the employees. Some of them have a purpose. Some of them don't. You can tell by the way they handle themselves, how they greet you, how they talk to you, everything. I remember going into a hotel one time, and I was with a couple of ours that we know, friends of ours, and we got in there about 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, at this hotel, and this lady behind the desk was just as bubbly and kind as could be and stuff like that. And I even complimented her on it. And she says, you know what? She says, I realize that my purpose in life is to take care of wayward, weary travelers. She says, that is my purpose. So she says, I love what I do. So when you come in at 2 o'clock in the morning and you've been on a plane, you know, for hours or whatever it is, she says, I am going to be here to serve you, you know, and take care of whatever you need in life. I'm sitting there saying, wow. You know, how easy is it for her to go to work? Very easy, because she's got a purpose in what she's doing. See, and that's where we need that in what we're trying to achieve in life. We got to have a purpose, because without that, it's so easy. I just give up. Why? What sense does any of this stuff mean? Because I don't have no purpose in this stuff. What am I doing here? What am I, you know? And then life becomes a burden. Fact is, a lot of times, you know, I say this sometimes in marriage classes too, but I'll say it here too. See, a lot of times people could write a book called Misery, you know, and for any of those who know the show, that's not a very miserable show, but for a lot of people, that's what their life is. You know what I mean? I mean, they've gotten into a point in time in life where they've given up all hope, no purpose in life. They're just living life. It is misery. It doesn't have to be that way. Our life was created for it to be exciting in the things we do. You know, and that's where if you can take, no matter what your circumstances, where you live and how you live, all this stuff can change. You know, it's interesting because they even talk about the human body. How many, I don't know how many years it is, but all the cells change. Everything within us changes, constantly changing all the time. Every day there's a change going on inside of us. See, every day there can be a change going on in process outside of us too. You know, if we're willing to look there and look for this stuff and work on this areas here, we can develop an area that we can change in. Okay, yeah. See, and that's where we talked a little bit about having a mission statement. Mission statements are important, you know, because what it does give you focus on what you're doing. And that's where we're going to, probably in your assignments, it's going to be part of your assignments here for this week, is going to be a mission statement. Trying to put in one sentence what you're about. A lot of times people say, well, mission statements are made for big business. You know, like I know Pierce Manufacturing where I worked, they had their mission statement. You know, I mean, all companies, a lot of companies do, because they want all their employees to be focused in the same direction, have the same mission. You know, see, and that's where in life, in our lives, mission statements are so important because it keeps us focused where we're going. You know, every day, you know, you need to put mission statements in places where you see it. You need to think about it often, whatever it is, because you got to know what mission you're on. See, what happens in our life, right, if we don't establish a mission and we don't have a mission in life, we're doing everything. You know, we're doing anything and everything. We think everything's our mission, you know, and you can't do that because what happens is you just wear yourself out. But if you can focus in one area that you really want to go in and make that your mission. Yeah, I'm doing this right now, but I'm doing this because this is my mission. And I'm doing this because this is my mission. It's going to help me to achieve my mission. I know myself, I was, how is it? See, I do a little bit of writing. I do, you know, stuff of that nature. Well, there was a time that I was at work and I was learning the computer. And I was one of these type of guys, you know what I mean? Where's E? You know, looking around for E. Okay, now where's an F? Oh yeah, it's over here. You know, and that's the way I plucked away the computer because I didn't know nothing like that. But you know, deep in my mind, I was thinking, you know, this could help me. You know, I just kept on plucking away because at that time I was teaching Bible studies at that time, and I was wanting to put together my own Bible study, my own lesson. I had to type this, you know. And this guy was teaching me how to use, I think it was Microsoft, I think it was Works at that time. Now it's Microsoft Word. But he was teaching me how to do this stuff, you know, and I kept on saying, hey, you know, what do I do now? I'm stuck, you know. He kept, you know, but through all that, see, it was part of what I was doing, but it was necessary to get me here. You know, and that's where a lot of times in life we're doing certain jobs, we're doing stuff like that. What you do is you look, you got a mission statement, but you look at what you're doing, you say, you know what, I can do this, and it doesn't become so hard anymore because you realize it's part of getting you here. It's part of where your mission is leading you. You need that. You need that. See, that's where the beauty of life and getting away from the book called Misery is being able to look at your life and where you are right now, realizing that it's just a stepping stone to where you're going. You know, we are going places, we are moving places, we are laying out change before us. We're laying all this stuff out, but the areas that we're into right now, yeah, you know, they might not look the best or whatever it is. See, I used to sweep floors too. A lot of this stuff here is all part of getting me where I need to go. But you know what? I got a plan. See, and that's where every one of us needs a plan. We need a mission in life. That why are we living our life? This is my mission. You know, this is my mission. I can go through a lot because I know what the end is going to be. And I realize that there's a lot of pathways, a lot of things, a lot of obstacles, whatever it might be. I can get through all this because I know what my mission is. But if I don't have a mission in life and no purpose in life, it is hard going through some of that stuff. Because why? You know, I mean, poor me. Woe is me. I just got such a terrible life. It is so tough. You know, just like last week, we talked a little bit about Charles Lindbergh staying up all night. He had a mission. What was his mission? His mission was to go around the world in an airplane. And he had to stay up all night. He had to condition himself. See, and that's where all these things are conditioning. My plucking away, it was part of conditioning. I look back at some of this stuff here. I realize that, you know, yeah, it was tough. I didn't know a whole lot. But you know, it was all necessary. And that's where all the areas and steps in life are all necessary for us. We need to step ourselves through that. Okay, next point we have is this. When you arrive in your true place, you will know it. For what you most love to do will become what you do best. Okay, you will be in your area of genius. You will be living the life you were designed to live and impacting people's lives. Do what you love and you will stop being your own worst enemy. Many can write a book called Misery. I talked about that. How many do you know that hate what they are doing? Okay, once you arrive, see, that's what I'm hoping to leave with you guys tonight and through all these classes here, is a sense of hope and a different way of looking at your life. There should be a different excitement about us, you know, as we step ourselves into these here, because we should have a whole new meaning for us being alive and doing the things we're doing. You know, having a mission statement, having a purpose in what we're doing, changes everything. It changes everything. So we can leave the areas of hopelessness. You know, I have to get up every morning. I got to drag myself to do this, and I got to drag myself to do that. See, you know, without a mission, without a purpose, that's just what it is. You're dragging yourself through life. I can't tell you how many guys at work that have mentioned to me, I hate my job. Anybody ever hear that? How many people say, I hate my job? I used to say, oh, I don't want to hear that, because what you're doing is you're killing something inside you when you say stuff like that. What you got to say, yeah, I'm in this area right now. That's why I always tell people, for one person, it's hell. For the other person, the same thing as heaven. So if you can change your focus on what you're doing and look at it, no matter what I am doing, it's heaven. Because it's all part of a higher calling. It's all part of doing something and raising myself up. Doesn't matter what it is. It's a process that we're in. And that's where we get ourselves and arrive ourselves into our true place and true understanding of who we are, of what success is, of what our mission is, what our purpose is. Our life takes a whole new meaning. It takes a whole new meaning, and there's a whole new excitement going on, because all of a sudden our life can become what we were designed to be. Okay, next point we had says, this very act of writing down and setting magnificent goals unlocks your creative powers. Setting and writing down goals can be the most explosive moment in a person's life. Everything in life is hit and miss without writing goals. Without goals, it's like rolling the dice in Vegas, which we talked about. It's like having life in default rather than having a perfect plan. See, once we get goals, once there's some structure in what we're going on, an explosion starts to happen in life, because things start to fall in place. All of a sudden the universe lines up. All of a sudden the angels, if you will, in heaven get excited, because the purpose that you were created for, all of a sudden you've got some structure to see it done. All of a sudden you have a place, as we talked last week, for a refrigerator to be placed in. Because we talked about how much our Creator wants to give each and every one of us, but we have no structure in our life to obtain anything, because we have not set any type of goals to obtain this stuff. They're all wish lists, all dream lists, all hope type things and stuff like that, but nothing solid. Once we can set up a goal and start structuring a plan to achieve, all of a sudden there is an explosion that happens in a person's life. All of a sudden all creation says, hey, the purpose for that individual has just been found out. Let's have ourselves a celebration. Let's have ourselves a celebration. That person has finally got it. I go to Tom's Drive-In. I forget what it says. Do you get it or something like that? They got it on their T-shirts. I always ask them. I still don't get it. But you know what? Once we can know what success is, and once we can say, hey, you know what? I got a mission in life. I got purpose in life, and I can write down some goals saying, this is what I'm going to do and when I'm going to achieve that. All of a sudden we start to line ourselves up to a place where everything starts to happen in our lives. All of a sudden we can put the pieces together and see things happening. Before that is just a wish list. And I can't tell you how many people are buried in the ground right now with a big wish list that never achieved any of this stuff, because they never really nailed it down and developed the passion to go after this stuff, to be able to really develop their lives to create great value. See, and I always look at life as, we're given a certain period of time to achieve and do. And we're not feelers. Last week we talked about feelers and doers. We're doers. We're given a certain period of time to do, and when we do, we become, and when we become, we achieve, and when we achieve, there's great reward for that. And I believe that there's reward for the rest of eternity for individuals who want to line themselves up and do something with their lives. I think that, we're not meant to take our monies and bury them in the ground, and take our talents and bury them in the ground, and take what we were created for and bury it in the ground, because we're afraid of losing this stuff. We're meant to use it. We're meant to take this and develop it in a way and use it and allow ourselves to become more and more valuable in life, to ourselves, to those that are around us, to the next generation, to whatever the purpose God would have each and every one of us for. See, and that's where we need sometimes to be shook up. Somebody needs to wake us up. Sometimes I say to myself, maybe I need to be woke up. Maybe there's more to life that I'm not seeing, that somebody needs to shake me or slap me in the face or something, because I want to see it all. I don't know about you guys, but I want to be able to achieve everything this guy can achieve. And I want to see each and every one of you achieving the same thing. See, I want to wear out. I don't want to rust out. See, and so many times, so many people have parked them someplace, and they're just rusting out. You know, all of a sudden the paint's coming off and the rust is there, and it's hard to operate anymore. It's just like leaving your vehicle parked for a couple of years and try to start running it. It's rusted up and it's hard to operate. But you know what? An individual that continues to move and continues doing is an individual that is very wise in life. You know, and the beauty of it, we have peace of mind. You know, we have peace within us that we have purpose in life. We have a mission in life, and we've structured it with a goal, compelling goals that compel us to move on. You know, not just any goal. Okay, by such and such time, that's what I'm going to do. No, this is compelling stuff. Saying, hey, you know what? This is what I'm going to achieve. It's goals that we will talk about. Goals that we will hang up someplace. Goals that people will say, you know, you got to be crazy. You know, we've talked about that before. You got to be crazy for this type of goal because you can't do this. See, that is a great goal, because what is great goals in life are looking beyond what we're capable of, because our Creator wants to fill in all the gaps in all the areas that make it all possible. And that's where when we have dreams, and we have dreams about things in life and great desires, these aren't by accident. These are for a purpose. These are meant to be developed. But we have to put the ingredients into it. We've got to get a momentum going. We got to get a passion going. We have to get a commitment to the dream. We have to set goals. We got to make structure around it. We got to do our part. And once we do our part, whatever the need might be, it's there. Sometimes people say, well, you know what, I can't afford. I can't afford to go after my dream. I used to say, baloney, because, you know, I teach classes on finance. I always tell these people, God could make everybody a millionaire. You know, it isn't the fact of who's this and that, but you know, there's principles that have to be followed. See, and once we develop a structure of what we want in life, all of a sudden the avenues, the incomes, the incomings, or whatever that need to happen there, they start to come. Because the whole universe starts to line up. Because this is the purpose that your Creator has created you for such a day as this. See, and that's where every once in a while there is a breakout. And that's what we're hoping in our lives, that we can just break out, line things up, and just let it happen, because this is what we were designed for. Next point we had here, okay, the very act of right, oh boy, yeah, let's go on to number 7. Last point here. It says, goal setting is the master skill of a lifelong success. It's the master skill. Only 3%. Yeah, only 3% have written goals. It gives you laser focus where you're going. It will provide you a clarity of outcome. Yeah, goal setting it's a master skill of all lifetime. If we're ever to develop a skill, if we want to be successful in life, in the things we do, if ever we are to develop any type of skill, I mean, some people want to be good golfers, some people want to bowl, and you know, that's okay. That's okay. But the skill for success that we need to develop in our life is the skill of goal setting. You know, and I just read that 3% of the people do goals. 3%. And I know there was a study done in a university, and some of you might be familiar with that study. This was many years ago, but at the commencement address, they told them, they said, you know, what you need to do is you need to set goals for yourself to be successful. And they need to be written down and all this stuff. They explained the whole thing at the commencement address for these university graduates. They let them go. And 10 years later, they had a class reunion. They invited all these guys back. Okay, so they asked them who had goals written down. Well, there was some that had goals in their mind, and there was all kinds of great intentions, but only 3% of that whole graduating class actually went through the process that was explained to them of how to be successful and wrote the goals down and actively pursued goal setting and setting action plans and everything that's necessary for that. And they found out, when they found out how much everybody earned, that the 97%, the 3% made as much as the 97% made combined. You know, this 3% made as much money as 97% of this graduating class combined made. So it spoke volumes to the point of becoming successful and doing the things. Goal setting is the answer, and it's a master skill that we need to master in our life. See, and that's where we're going to go into some homework here, and we're going to talk a little bit about it, but it is something that we have to get our arms around. And that's where I'm hoping that I can encourage you all to step this through. What I'm going to do quickly here for you here and you at home is go through some of the homework lines here. Okay, number 1, okay, we need to write one sentence explaining your purpose and what you want to do. Okay, so taking a sentence making it your mission statement. Write down, what your purpose is and what you really are going after. And making it a mission that you can have. Okay, number 2 was, what would you be willing to die for if you had to? Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I'm just trying to stir up thought here, but see, the way I look at life here is the fact that we don't live forever. I don't see anybody that has lived forever. Everybody seems to have a period of time. So I say to myself, there should be things in life that I'm willing to expend my life for, whatever it might be. And what am I willing to die for? What purpose in life am I willing to pour myself in, live or die? Because this is something that I believe in. This is something I feel that is what I need to go after, and it doesn't matter. It really does not matter what people might say or what might happen to me, because I am going after this, because this here is a true mission in life. And that's where a lot of the individuals that have been successful in life have had that attitude. It didn't matter. It's just who I am. This is my mission in life, and I'm going after. Yeah, it might be dangerous, might be this or that, but you know what? This is my mission. This is my mission in life. Okay, number 3, if you could write your own eulogy, what would you want it to say? Okay, after it all is said and done, what would you want it to say? I was a rusty old car sitting on the side of the road, or I was something that wore itself out completely. I used every part of my life. I used all the ability. They say there's a percentage of the abilities that we use in a lifetime, and that it's impossible to use up 100% of all of our abilities. But a lot of people pass away only using about 10% of their abilities. We have tremendous abilities. We talked about the paraplegic Olympics. What's your excuse last week? We have tremendous abilities. Okay, so being able to write a eulogy, I have used myself to the fullest. This, I so-and-so, has lived a life, and this is what I have achieved, whatever. But anyway, okay, number 4, it says, what do you want to have and who do you want to be? Okay, when it's all said and done, what do you want to have in life and who do you want to be when it's all said and done? Maybe you don't want anything. It's all what you want to be. But being able to write something down, this is what I want to be. Or like say for my children or for my grandchildren, what do I want to be in their life? What do I want to have developed? What can I do for the next generation of people? Sometimes I look at what we have right now and I realize it was creative, passionate, successful, structured people that gave us what we got here right now. You look at the conveniences we have. We push buttons and our climate's controlled. We don't have to go out and chop down trees and feed a wood burner all night and all these types of things. I got something at home. I turn the handle and a bunch of water goes down. I don't have to go out back someplace in the middle of the night and carry a candle or something like that. I got conveniences all around me. There were passions. There were people that have done great things from the past that we have here in our generation. Think for a moment of what we can do for the next generation. What one individual that is truly dedicated in seeking after their purpose and goal and mission in life can achieve by just stepping out and going after this stuff. Okay, number 5, what extraordinary thing would you like to do? Okay, I guess some of these might tie together a little bit. What extraordinary thing would you like to do in your life? Okay, number 6, okay, write down 20 goals for the next 10 years of your life. Okay, that might sound like a lot, but 20 things that you might want to achieve in your life in the next 10 years. How could I'm going to try to say this well. 20 things that could be potential goals that you're going after in your life of areas. Some people it might be simple goals as seeing the pyramids or or getting a degree in this or whatever the circumstances be, but trying to get yourself to think, because you know what, if you don't start thinking of these things right now, when you get to be 10 years from your life, you'll probably be sitting in the same spot not having done a whole lot of what you wanted to do because you never really sat down and said, this is what I want to do. And it's amazing when you start to write it down, it crystallizes it. It makes, I can't tell you enough how many times throughout the years of just writing things down, it puts it into motion. Because I know, some of the places I've been, the places I've bought, things I've done, all these types of things. I know all these things were written down at one time, and all of a sudden, bam, there it is. I know we've talked about this a little bit as far as selling our property, how we set a date when we were going to put the sign on, and we had a lot of work to do, but that date the sign went out because the house was ready. I sit back and I said, how did that house ever get ready to be sold at that date? Because there was a lot of work to be done. We had to repaint the whole thing and do a lot of yard work and clean up, all this sort of thing. There was a lot of trash around that place. But we put a date down months before, and all of a sudden by that date, the house was ready to be put on the market. How did that happen? How did that happen? Something crystallized. Something came together and allowed it to happen. Then we put the date as when it's going to be sold. And, and I think I mentioned that we got a phone call the very day. Well, no, a couple days before. They wanted to see it the very day that we wrote down is to sell it. And that person right now is in the process of buying our property. But she came to look at the property the very day that was written down. It wasn't month. It wasn't month. It was the day. It was September 1st. August 1st was the date that we were going to put the sign out. So we had days that we did things. But it crystallizes. See, that's where when you set goals and priorities and what you're going after, it seems like everything starts to work around to make it happen. I know Billy has got her story too. It all seems to happen, all seems to come together. This stuff is powerful, a lot more powerful than anybody ever imagines as far as writing down some goals in your life. And number 7, it says write down 3 goals that you want to achieve this year. Okay, so areas that, and those you give dates, things that you want to achieve this year, see to happen. I know the course of 7 weeks right now, we're hoping to be able to take something that we want in our life and either have it achieved by the end of 7 weeks or be able to have a great testimony of what is all happening around it. Because if you can start writing it down, like say maybe you get a goal that you need to have maybe by January 1st or whatever, you write January 1st. Well, in these 7 weeks, there are things you do. It's action plans. You look at your goal and say, you know what? This is what I need to do today. This is what I need to do tomorrow. This is what I have to have done by end of next week. You put action plans together, and all of a sudden you just watch things start to happen. And, great things will. But this is the end of the homework for next week. And I want to just take a moment here to thank everybody for being with us tonight. You guys were all tremendous. I can see great desire in everybody. And I realize that you all have a mission in life. You've got great purpose, and it's with great honor that I'm with you tonight. And I want to wish you all a great week, and I will see you again next week. Thank you so much.